Hello you guys and welcome to the channel. My name is Katie and I'm so glad to have you here. Today we're talking about something that I've seen more and more photographers talk about, at least in the groups that I'm a part of, is boundaries. Boundaries with clients, with family, with friends, how to set them. And it's kind of an awkward topic, but we're gonna go ahead and talk about it. I want to give you 6 ways that you can start setting boundaries in your photography business. But first, let's talk about why boundaries are a good thing when it comes to photography. It's because this is a job. You should set boundaries in most relationships in your life. You should set boundaries in your work, what you will and won't do, because at the end of the day, if you're doing this as a business, it is your job. And unfortunately, when you have a more artistic or fun job, a lot of people don't put value into what you do. So I don't know if that will ever change. It is an ongoing issue with a lot of people. A lot of people feel this way. All I know is I set boundaries for myself, for my family, and my friends and my clients to make sure that photography and this photography business does not just consume my entire life. That's what I don't want. I don't want me to hate photography or only view it as a job. Like, I still want it to be fun, so I don't want it to consume my whole life. And I want to work with people who value me and my time, because this is a legitimate business. So even though it's a small business, it's still a business, and I want it to treat it like that. I hope that introduction made sense. Conclusion, boundaries are important, and let's talk about them. So a big way, and this is something that I struggle with so much, is giving yourself days off. Just because you don't have anything that day does not mean you have to take on a session or a wedding or whatever. Just because you're available doesn't mean you're available. So giving yourself a day off or multiple days off or the weekend off, just because you don't have a wedding booked that weekend doesn't mean you have to. And I run into this struggle a lot. Most recently, I told my husband, like, okay, I'm not gonna take any weddings in the summer anymore because it's just too gosh darn hot in North Carolina. And then I get an inquiry for a venue that I really want to go to, and the couple seems amazing, and I get on a call with them and we vibe, and it's in the summer and it's gonna be hot, but I was like, I took it anyway. So I'm not the best at like maintaining strict boundaries because it is really hard to turn away the money, the experience, the photos, the connection. Like, it's hard to turn people away, but at the end of the day, your burnout is not worth taking on that extra session or that extra wedding. And I don't know your own personal like finances, so maybe this doesn't really apply to you, but objectively speaking, just because you're not working that day doesn't mean you're available to shoot. And this kind of flows into the second point of you don't have to work holidays. I know I've seen a lot of people, and holidays are coming. It's the holiday season. A lot of families are together for Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, I don't know, Valentine's Day. They are usually not all together, so they think, let's hire a photographer to come out on Thanksgiving right before dinner and take a picture of all of us. And the thought behind that is nothing terrible. I understand. Like, a lot of the time, family doesn't get together that much unless it's on a holiday, so everyone's together that one day. Let's hire someone to work Christmas Day. I understand the thought behind it, but you don't have to take on that session. Again, objectively speaking, I don't know your own personal finance or like what you celebrate or whatever, but I'm saying as a boundary, if you don't want to work Christmas Day, you don't have to. Just because you have the day off doesn't mean you're available. You don't have to work holidays. If you choose to, then that's totally on you. But for me, I block off Thanksgiving weekend. I block off Christmas weekend. So I'm gonna block off those kind of holidays that are important to me, and I'm not going to work those. I'm a big Halloween person. I love trick-or-treaters. I love seeing all the kids in our neighborhood in their little costumes. So maybe I don't do a Halloween wedding because I want to be home handing out candy to trick-or-treaters and watching scary movies with my husband. That's my decision, and that's a boundary that I can set myself. So you don't have to work holidays if you don't want to. Another point to create boundaries in your photography business, one that I am really bad at, is only responding during your business hours. So one great thing about being a photographer is you can decide your business hours and you only respond in that window. That might be 8 to 5, maybe it's 8 to 6, like whatever it is, respond to clients within that window, because if you are responding to clients at 11 p.m., that is going to be an expectation that you are going to be available via email at 11 p.m. And so they might email you or text you or whatever it is at 11 at night, and maybe it's a Monday night and you have to get up early the next day and you're like, I'm asleep. You've set an expectation by doing that. I'm saying this as somebody who struggles with this really bad because I do work a full-time job during the day, so I don't always have time to answer photography emails like while I'm working. And so, the evenings I will respond to emails really quickly, or I want to send this gallery but it's 10 p.m. I'm going to wait till the next day and send it that morning. Like, I have to make myself respond during the daylight hours. I'm not saying you can never respond to an email or a text or anything really quickly, but I am saying, like, don't make that a normal thing within your photography business. Kind of going off of that point, decide what medium you want to communicate with your clients and stick to it. I have seen this happen. I've seen this posted so many times on Facebook where, photographers, they give their number to their clients and their clients are texting them like nonstop. I have personally had clients text me a lot, asking me different questions that don't pertain to wedding photography or like my role at their wedding at all. So in those cases, you need to decide what medium you would like to communicate with your clients. Now, I always give my clients my phone number because, I'm headed out to an engagement session. I want to be able to text them when I get there and get updates and stuff like that. But if that's not you, that's not you. You can choose to only communicate with clients through email, but you have to stick with it. You can't expect them to always email you if you're texting them back. It's kind of a balance for me, and my previous point with only responding during business hours, that includes texting my clients as well. And for the most part, my clients are very respectful of my time, and so I don't really have clients texting me in the middle of the night, but I'm just saying, if you want to create that boundary, choose a medium and stick to it. If you don't want to text clients and they text you, respond to them in email. Take the conversation to email if that's what you want. The next point is to know your limits and communicate them. Again, I feel like as photographers, I feel like we kind of put a lot on ourselves for some reason. If you don't know Photoshop, you do not need to put that on yourself. I tell my clients this all the time. I do, X amount of editing on my photos. Can I get rid of a thing in the background? Sure, but if you're wanting to Photoshop Nana into the photo because Nana wasn't at the wedding, I can't Photoshop like that, so it's going to be an additional fee for me to outsource that part. I can't put it all on myself. And I can't always eat the cost of that. So I communicate that beforehand, but I think even more so than just like Photoshopping is on wedding day, you're not the coordinator. I know, that's crazy. You're not the wedding coordinator. You're not the wedding planner. You are the photographer. So just be wary on those instances where people are looking to you to do the job of a wedding coordinator. For me, I am very helpful. I try to have a very helpful spirit, and if somebody asks me certain questions, like where's the bathroom? Yeah, I'm gonna point where the bathroom is. What time does this end? What time is this? What time is that? Sure, I'll answer. Dances are at 7, cake cuttings at 7:30, whatever. But if people are coming to me and treating me like the like the day of coordinator, and it's getting in the way of my job as the photographer, that's where I cross the line. Not cross the line, that's where I draw the line. I draw the line there because at the end of the day, I'm here to do my job as a wedding photographer, and I'm not gonna let anything stand in that way because that's what I was hired to do. If there's not a day of coordinator, don't take on that role. That's not your responsibility. I'm not saying to not do anything that is not photography related because, like I said, I try to have a helpful spirit and try to serve my clients and couples the best that I can, but I'm not going to put on additional stress on myself of something that's not my job. So focus on your job, what you're hired to do first, and then be helpful from there. And the last point I will say, in order to create boundaries in your photography business, which is probably the hardest one out of all of these points, is don't be afraid to say no to friends and family members, especially if they want free sessions, I will say, don't be afraid to say no to family and friends. It's a hard one. You do not have to bring your camera everywhere you go all the time to snap a couple photos, you know what I mean? So I think, kind of going back to things that I've already mentioned in this video, it's really easy for people not to necessarily put a lot of value on what you do when it's deemed fun or artistic. I think as photographers, we run into the issue of friends and family, people who are closest to us just want us to bring the camera along and snap a couple photos, or, oh, can you just do my family photos really quick? You don't even have to edit them. To me, this is a very big boundary. Like I have said, I sound like a broken record in this video, but I want photography to still be fun. I don't want the expectation is that Katie's gonna bring her camera to all of the trips, all of the family get-togethers, all of the whatevers, family vacations. Katie's gonna have her camera. Katie's the family photographer. Katie's gonna bring her camera on this weekend trip with friends, so Katie's gonna do couples portraits for all of us, or family photos. I don't like that expectation. I've gifted sessions for families and friends, and I don't mind that, but I think it's really easy for, people closest to us to also take advantage of this. So I would just say be wary, and you don't have to say yes to photographing family and friends anytime they want you to. Now, I'm not saying that you can never do this for free. You can never gift any sessions, or you can never bring your camera to any get-together, but I think this is a pretty common boundary that is pushed, and so that's why it's on my list. I set this boundary with weddings as well. I would not photograph a friend's wedding for free. Like, if you invite me to be a guest at your wedding, I'm not bringing my camera. I am not afraid to say no to my family members, especially, I've been very busy with weddings this year, and I'm very busy with weddings next year, and just all the things that Jesse and I are trying to do. So I want to protect my time with my family, with my husband, and my rest time as well. So I think if you take anything away from this, is that your time is valuable and you deserve to have days off. Even if you are a small business owner or an independent contractor, you deserve to have rest and you don't need to be burnt out. So I encourage everybody to set boundaries in your business where it doesn't overtake your life, and that you still enjoy it and that you're still excited and happy to do a wedding or do a family session, that photography is still exciting for you and that you're not burnt out or taken advantage of. I hope that that's what you get from this video and that you start implementing boundaries in your photography business. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye!